Welcome to the Craze in 10 or less. This is the show where I give it to you in 10 minutes or under. And if I don't, who's going to know? You? Me? The world? I don't know. Anyway, how important was Wizard Magazine to the comic book industry? Let's talk about it. Stop acting up. Let's get crazy. So, Wizard Magazine. Here's just a few. I have every issue of Wizard Magazine that I've collected throughout my time in comics. For those of you who don't know what Wizard Magazine is, if you're new to the comic book world, it was like, if you're in music, it's like the Source Magazine to hip hop. It's like Vogue to fashion. You know, it was the end all, be all. You wanted, if you were in comics, you wanted to be written up in Wizard. You wanted to have a snippet in Wizard. You wanted to get noticed in Wizard. Because anybody was in there. You had the top 10 writers list, the top 10 artist lists. You had some amazing content in Wizard Magazine. Every movie was previewed in Wizard Magazine. Some of the best interviews, artists interviews. You would have, when they were spotlighting artists, they'd have their sketch art and sketch pages, and sometimes they did how-to pages and, character design. The price guide in Wizard Magazine. So if you want to know the value of your comic book, you'd go to the price guide. Anything and everything. If you were a toy collector, they had, the toy fair version of it was Toy Fair. You had Inquest for gamers. You had Anime Insider. There was a lot of magazines spawned from Wizard Magazine. And I think it had a lot to do with the success of a lot of little guys that broke out. The Image Comics and the Aspen, Top Cow, when Cross Generation Comics came out. These guys were all highlighted and spotlighted in the Wizard Magazine. I remember when we came out, we wanted to get into Wizard Magazine so bad. This here is one of the ads. I actually paid for this ad. It was for my appearance at our appearance at the time at the San Diego Comic-Con. So, and I'll put it up on the screen later. But yes, so I had to buy my way to Wizard Magazine, but I did get some a good quote from Karen Ibarra, who was with Wizard Magazine at the time. She got a copy of this nailed in my toilet, and she says, "Got it, read it, loved it." So that's something that you'll see on my book. But how important was it? Why was it so important? We all know that Wizard, the first issue of Wizard was in 1991, and they closed its doors to Wizard Magazine in 2011, and they, in the height of Wizard Magazine, they were doing about 100,000 copies a month in circulation. So 100,000 copies, and the average price was $6. 600,000, $6, 100,000, yeah. So you think about how important that was, and as one of the reasons why they closed their doors, because that 100,000 unit circulation dropped to 17,000 units. But let's talk about why it was important. It shined a light on a arena that at that time was still not mainstream. Whenever you brought up comics back in the early 90s, late 80s, early 90s, like people didn't take it seriously. They thought of the funnies, like the Sunday papers. Wizard Magazine came out and gave it credibility and put some faces to the names behind your favorite books. When you seen the Alex Rosses, and the Jim Lees, and Mark Silvestris. You know, you got to see the face. The Alan Moores, and then you got to learn about your favorite creators. Maybe you just bought the book because you love the artwork, but you didn't really know anything about the writer. And then now Wizard just spotlighted a writer and really piqued your interest. So you wanted to see what other stuff that writer did, and you went and picked that up because you've become a fan of that work. Um, Not only that, but it created a culture, had a cult following where, I mean, I can't tell you, we look forward to the end of the month because we wanted that next issue of Wizard. And we used to talk about it. We used to read the articles and talk about it in groups. It was that magazine you wanted. And you also got to know about the future stuff that's coming down the pipe. You got to learn about, Michael Turner's, rest in peace, Michael Turner's projects. You got to learn about what's coming down the road with Top Cow. You got to learn about potential licensing deals and movies when Witchblade the series came out. You got to learn. You would learn about that stuff in a magazine like Wizard. It was so important to the game back then, which begs the question: do we need another Wizard?
Questions. Questions that need answering.
There's a shift going on right now in the industry. And right now, all the attention's on film and merchandising. How do we get back that nostalgic, excitable, romantic feeling about comics again? I could tell you I saved all of mine because I'd love to go back and read them again. But there's nothing like it anymore. Everything's online. And I get the whole green factor and saving the trees and all that other stuff. But, I mean, they did such a heck of a job before they started changing hands and changing leadership. I think it was the beginning of the end for them was back, I think, in 2006 when they fired the co-founder and editor-in-chief, Pat McCallum. That's when it started switching. And that's when, then they started phasing out the internal staff and going into freelancing, and it was like grasping at straws and trying to change. Whenever you change something that's not broken, you're going to either catapult or fail. And I am a huge fan. I've always been. I just think the market needs something. It might not be a hard magazine, be online, but we need something to create that buzz again, that excitement. We need that rock star feeling. McFarlane and Lee, just broke out into the scene. They were rock stars. They were superstars, and a lot of it had to do with Wizard Magazine giving them that platform because they won all the issues. They had coverage. It was crazy. What do you remember about Wizard Magazine? What was your favorite part of the magazine? Why did you pick it up? Why did you collect it? I'd love to know. And if you think this should be a segment on our Cast to Craze podcast, let me know. And George and I will discuss it, and we'll deep dive. If you got some inside scoops you want to share with us, let us know. So I'm Sam the Crazy Man Rivera. This is the Craze in 10 or Less. Wizard Magazine created a buzz that we so need today. Cast to Craze, baby. Peace.